Tonight's very special episode of the Sunday Night Talk is here. It is special because we are recording this Christmas night. That's right. Me and Omar never take a week off. Well, actually, we do sometimes. We did last week, but not this week. It's Christmas night. We got Christmas to talk about. We got Saturday football to talk about. We got Sunday football to talk about, and weather, Christmas weather, football weather, and a lot of Christmas talk. We get introspective. But we talk a lot of sports too. Hot takes aplenty this episode. Before we get to this episode, don't forget, if you're new to the channel, if you're new to Running It Back, give my channel a subscribe. Click it. The channel has grown in the last couple weeks, and let's keep it going. More shows are going up. The Sunday Night Talk goes up weekly, and we are running Opening Scenes, a monthly edition with me and my cousin Adrian talking movies. Not to mention stand-up clips are up there, and plenty of interviews too. So give it a subscribe. Tonight on the show, the Sunday Night Talk, Omar joins me. It's Christmas night. We have a lot of holiday stuff to talk about. We get into it about Christmas presents, the awards, and finally, the Monday night questions. Good Sunday night game too. Well, let's not delay. Let's hear about it. Merry Christmas, everybody. This is me and Omar Carmona, Christmas night on the Sunday Night Talk. All right, it is 9:45 Mountain Time on a very special Sunday Night Talk edition because it's Christmas Day. Omar Carmona joins me. Even though we're in the same city, we still had to Zoom it in. We got family stuff.
Still had to Zoom.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. My wife's a little under the weather, so I'll be Zooming. But we got a lot to talk about. This was an eventful week.
And even first off, just talking, this is how we're doing it. We are in overtime. 7:43 is left in the overtime. Tampa Bay, Arizona, and we're just going to roll with it. We're going to see if Tom Brady can have another historical comeback slash, I don't know, 3.5 quarters of poor play, and all of a sudden he ekes out the 10 points when he absolutely needs it. So
definitely.
And I don't know if you noticed this, because I'm in and out of this game because I got family stuff going on. We're drinking. We're halfway opening presents. At some point, I think Tarico and Mike and Chris Collinsworth are completely bored out of their minds during this game. Tarico says, like, they should go no huddle. Tarico is saying, like, hey, do some no huddle for fun, for my sake.
Yeah, I picked up on that. And yeah, I don't think Collinsworth always likes to call a Brady game, right? Like he loves calling Brady's final games of his career. But in reality, it's killing him that this is against the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and also along the Brady talk, like we have some big pass by the Bucks. They're on the 50. We have some Brady Belichick farewell tour to start talking about. Like, how is it going to end for these two juggernauts of the league? Like, I think we need to start seriously thinking about this with Belichick, especially with the Raiders loss last week, with their poor game this week. Somehow they're still not out of the playoffs. I don't know how that works. And then Brady, we got to figure out Brady down the road because he's going to have a playoff run. So let's let this game roll, but let's talk a little Christmas. To start, what's going on with your Christmas? How was it? Did you survive it? Are you glad it's over? What do you think?
It was nice to relax. I spent time with my whole family. Obviously, you'd like to spend more time, but when when you're a couple that comes from broken homes, it's we got plenty of houses to visit. But it was fun. We had a good Christmas. The kids had a great time. I realize that I'm jealous of my 9-year-old. He's got a great, setup in his room now with a nice TV, video games. So, I never had any of that growing up. So, I'm jealous of a 9-year-old.
Wait. No, your room was the envy of us in school because your room had. Maybe I just had a shitty room.
TV. Oh,
You had a TV in your room, you had a VCR in your room, you had a Nintendo 64 in your room as a 10-year-old. Like, I could have never got that stuff in my room as a kid. You had an awesome room. Like, now it makes me fearful of what your kid actually has in his room now.
yeah, you'd have to come check out the setup.
Yeah, I know. Let's next week, or let's do a show from your son's room. It sounds like that
That'd
might
be
be a
fun.
multimedia type of place to do it in.
How
We got
was your Christmas? What did you do?
uh okay, here's what we do. So I get into town on the 22nd. I'm doing the family stuff. Um here's my Christmas Eve. Here's what we do. Somehow we got to go to the 5:15 church service. For some reason, I remember these being bigger deals than they are now. You know, I thought like the church Christmas service was like the blockbuster movie of church
Right.
services. Like what are the top dogs? Christmas, Easter, what else? I think it's just those two that are the big ones. And I don't know where you stand on this. When the priest does a children's mass, I think that's a total cop out as far as the priest goes. Like, let me just
think
kind of
so,
talk to
too.
the kids, ask them some questions, and then we
Well,
get on with it.
I don't think there's any preparation then for that type. It's a cop out because he probably just, having some tamales, having some menudo leading up to the mass, was watching some games, and he's like, "Oh, whoa, I got mass in 10 minutes. I'll just do a church one."
I'll tell the story of
Yeah.
Jesus going to
kids love
Bethlehem and the birth of it. Like, yeah, we haven't heard that story before. Sure, that's a great idea.
Right.
The priest is burning time with the can I have all the children come up, and then some children sort of like trinkle up and just sort of fill up the front row. I'm like, great, you just burned 2.5 minutes there. All right, this guy wants to get out of here,
Right.
or maybe he's phoning it in because the big mass is the day of the Christmas Day 10 a.m. mass, and he's like, I'm not wasting my big guns for this one. I don't know. So we do that.
Yeah.
And my parents, when the mass ends, it doesn't mean you're leaving. It means my parents have to say hello to my parents apparently know every single person in this church.
Oh yeah, they're in the parish, right?
So it's a lot of handshaking. It's a lot of oh, there's this guy. Here's my son. Oh, what's going on with this? We get out. We got to shake the priest's hand. Then we got to light. And here's my question. Luminatios. Are Luminatios exclusive to El Paso, the Southwest? Because I don't think everybody lights little bags with candles in them.
I think it's a Southwest border town type thing, because I know that you can get them down in the valley, the Texas Valley, and Laredo. So, and I imagine they can stretch out to San Diego, right, and maybe LA.
Oh, okay. I've never seen them in LA where I live. So I'm become curious of that. So now we got to light some bags of sand, which also blows my mind that we've never had some sort of lawn catch on fire in all the years we've done this.
Right.
We're lighting little candles and nothing ever burns down. So we do that, and then we do the neighborhood party. We go to a neighbor's party. We've done it forever. The party has gotten increasingly stuffy over the years because it's an older crowd. Crowd at this party. But here's where the party takes a turn is I have to watch my beloved Raiders play the Steelers, and this family is a Steelers fan. So now we're watching it, and the Raiders are doing the common thing of getting up early in the game. They have a lead, and then they forget to show up for the second half, and then they lose in, I don't know, pick your one of 12 ways in which they've lost this year. So that was my Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, we usually do a low key. We make some breakfast. I cook some breakfast. Everybody cooks something. And then we head over to my grandparents' house. And then it is Bud Light Central. We do the White Elephant Exchange. So there's only one gift to bring. And of course, the White Elephant Exchange process is met with arguments Everybody's interrupting. We can't get through it. And then we finally open it, and then we call it a night.
We played White Elephant last night too, and it seems like everybody's got a very wide interpretation of the rules of White Elephant. So I'm a little concerned on society's lack of knowledge on how to play the game properly.
Yeah, there is a lot to actually decipher when it comes to White Elephant. You can make it quite complicated, and I will say no matter how simplistic you make it, people will have a problem with it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? We play this little game. Well, let's do a game update. Tampa Bay just kicked a field goal. They win in overtime. So Tom Brady lives on.
It was an overtime game, but yeah, it was kind of hard to watch at times. The fourth quarter got good, but that first half was brutal, 6-6, and the sad thing is that NFC South is going to be won possibly by a sub 500 team, quite possibly. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I have in my notes. This is Tampa Bay for the division title. This is Brady versus McSorley. This is a field goal at the end of the first half. It's 6-6 going into halftime. And then we got the only excitement was the field goal hits off the upright. And I'm counting down. I'm watching the game with my brother. And I go, count down till Collinsworth says the word doink 18 times. And I'm not kidding you. He said it exactly after I finished that sentence. And I have this note. I still don't know who the Tampa Bay coach is. They keep showing him, and I'm like, who's that guy? Oh, is that the coach? I still have no idea what the hell's going on. And Brady's bad in this game. Brady looks like a total mess. And somehow he pulls it out. It's the Cardinals, but he pulled it off.
He pulled it off. And I got a hot take. I got a hot take.
Well, don't step on it. You want to throw it out now?
I'll throw it out. Cliff? Yeah, you know what? I'll save it. Just
all right.
Yeah. Remind me though, because it's about this game.
All right. Let's go over your Christmas. What goes on in the Carmona house? You said you got your parents. You got a dual. Your parents are divorced, so you hit more than one house, and your wife's are too.
Yeah.
Jeez, so, that's a lot of driving then.
It wasn't so bad. We just going around, but but this morning, we ended up with the kids' godparents at their house last night just for dinner. But we were back home early, and what our tradition is, we open presents at home Christmas Day with the kids, always at our house. So all the grandparents come over, plenty of food. So that's pretty much it. Then watch TV all day. Watch basketball.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, you end up just kind of watching TV. It's not like there's something specific. You kind of eat and you kind of plop down somewhere.
Do you sleep? Do you doze off on the couch? Is it because of our age? It seemed like I always thought it was real lame when we were kids that like old guys would just be on the couch sleeping. It's like I'd be like, go to bed.
I've never dozed off. I gotta say, I can't doze off with activity going on around me.
Really?
I gotta say. So I can't say I've ever dozed off. I don't know if we have a lot of family members that doze off. Thanksgiving, there's some dozing off. There's definitely that. So yeah, I would say we have activity. You end up watching games. We watch whatever's on. We got to talk about Christmas, New Year's, Christmas Eve football and Christmas Day football, because Christmas Day is usually a basketball day. And it's just on in the background. I never pay attention to it. So this year we had football. Oh, and then my Christmas ends with me smoking cigars outside on the porch, drinking beer. And then I always get too ambitious on the cigar, and I smoke the whole thing and I get a massive headache.
I've been smoking cigars, regularly now, and I seem to like it as I'm smoking one right now. Yeah, I
like it too. So that was our Christmases. Pretty fun. I always enjoy coming home. I don't think I've ever missed a Christmas not at home. I don't have a wife and family, so I come here. So I enjoy it. I do enjoy it. It's getting harder though. Is it hard for you where like I have done so many Christmases. I've seen my family members getting old. And you know, I see my brother with his kids. I see some of my cousins have kids. And I'm like, God damn it. This is going to be different one day. Like we're not going to have all the family members here one day. Like, you know, I get kind of bummed out. I don't know how to feel sometimes.
Dude, you're bumming me out, man.
I bum myself out. My grandpa's super old. All my uncles and stuff, you know, are old. And I just kind of get bummed out, you know. I'm like, well, what's it going to be like one day? I realize my parents probably said the exact same thing at some point when they were young parents, but I get bummed out sometimes. You know, I don't want the day to end. I don't want Christmas Eve to end. I don't want the Christmas Day to end. So at some point I become introspective Pat Ramirez on these Christmas days now.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk big picture today in the NFL. We had I can't really remember this in recent history where the NFL puts games on Christmas Eve and then 3 games on Christmas Day and a bunch of games on Christmas Eve. So yeah, it's kind of a hectic day, Christmas Eve. So how many games on Christmas Eve did you end up watching?
I did watch plenty of football Christmas Eve. I did not. I caught the end of the Jaguars Jets game on Thursday, but I was able to watch. To watch plenty of football Christmas Eve. Today I watched a little football, but definitely yesterday I was okay.
Yeah, yesterday was the day to watch it. Today was hard, and luckily they put Broncos Rams in the middle, so nobody had any interest in watching that game. That was the perfect.
That game was terrible. I mean, It's been a while since I think a game's just been that bad from beginning to end. You know, whistle to whistle, it was terrible.
That was the perfect. Let's go cut the ham during this game. The other big note this week was NFL Sunday Ticket leaving DirecTV. They announced it's going to Google, which means YouTube TV.
And guess what? I am done with TV.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus going around. That's it, DirecTV. We can finally cut ties from you and your horrible, expensive, we just have this for NFL Network TV. Is anybody watching these 80 channels that we have no interest in? And DirecTV,
I'm done.
They had NFL Sunday Ticket, but beyond putting the 4 squares up, what did they really do? They had the fantasy zone, they had the red zone thing. They had nothing to offer. And you had to have DirecTV. You couldn't just stream it. So big news. I'm looking forward to how this is going to change in the YouTube world. What else? Oh, were you like me? Probably not. But had you had it up to here with all the Franco Harris Immaculate Reception talk leading into the Raiders game? I can't hear it anymore. I don't want to hear this stupid story.
Well, you're a Raiders fan, but obviously I think what made it just so crazy was that Franco Harris dies right before he's going to get his big, 50-year moment. So I think that was really sad. So I didn't mind the Franco Harris talk.
Yeah, I was just sick of it, mainly because it was making me nervous for the game. Great, the Raiders have momentum. They're going into Pittsburgh. It's going to be 8 degrees. This is a big question mark. This is going to be a loss. And I thought they were going to win.
Felt it was going to be a loss. And, you hate it. I think that's a major letdown for the Raiders, because to win the way they did last week, you're like, wow, guys, finally something bounced your way, and so it'd be nice that they, followed it up, but but even with you guys winning, you didn't get the feeling that Pittsburgh was ever out of the game, and so I think that's the problem with the Raiders. They just don't have that killer instinct,
Yeah, my dumb team just sort of gave you hope every game and a half that it's going to turn around. It's a long season. They even lost to such and such, but they're still in the hunt. And then we go into Pittsburgh, and it was the classic Raiders collapse where they're up. Carr seems to forget where his receivers are and throws it up there. I mean, that last possession, like the Steelers score the touchdown. The Raiders just need a field goal. And I say, like, we've got 3 timeouts and we're getting the last possession. This is tailor-made. This can work. First play, incomplete to Devontae Adams. Second play, jump ball that is not online to Hunter Renfrow, interception, game over. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, not even a threat. Not even a threat to get in field goal range, and the game's over. So what a bummer. I told myself I gave up on the Raiders and it's just fun for the rest of the year, but I'm still rooting for them like, oh, we just got to catch fire. And it just didn't happen. We got to put this dog to sleep permanently already. Yeah. But back to Christmas football. We had Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I think it might take me another season, but I could be into this. I got a lot of good games on Christmas Eve and then some fun stuff to watch Christmas Day. Not bad,
yeah,
NFL.
I really liked it. And well, I guess that means next year. I don't think it's a leap year. So is it next year? It's going to be Christmas Eve is going to be Sunday.
Right. So we're
going that would be a regular slate of games, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I could see them flexing it to like, well, let's split it up and do Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Maybe they'll get like at least 3 games on Saturday, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because the NFL has shown like, oh, well, guess what? Let's just take Saturday now. We don't care. Let's put it on Saturday, Sunday.
You know me, Pat, I'm advocating for a Friday night game. I've been advocating for that since
we do Thursday night games all year long. Is Friday really that much of a stretch to think about?
Maybe Apple. I'm begging Apple. I know they came up short in the battle to get the Sunday ticket, but hey, Apple, maybe throw some money out there and you own Friday night football, Friday night light. Let's do it.
Look at Amazon. They got it. They got Thursday night. Amazon started with books. Now they own a piece of the NFL. You don't think this can be done? So I'm so looking forward to the NFL stepping into the new technology world where we can just stream games without having a satellite bolted to our roof.
I'm with you.
The other thing with the Saturday, Sunday games, we cannot have a more 180-degree swing with weather. Weather on Saturday games was brutal. That was half the fun of watching these games. I texted you, like, do you know how low tickets are going for the Cleveland game? $6.
That was crazy.
$6.
And then you were talking about how like the announcer just gets on and says, hey, I know you guys don't have good seats, but come on down, try to stay warm.
Oh yeah. Come on down. Like, you don't know how many terrible comedy shows I've done where you look out in the audience and it's sporadically placed throughout the seats and you just kind of go, come on forward, everybody, come on forward. Let's fill up the front rows. That's what it felt like. This Cleveland was like, let's come down or come to the lower bowl. Let's all cheer together. Let's make it loud.
Right.
So we had weather those days, and then Sunday, we had the best weather ever. If you're Green Bay and you got a Miami game in December, you're like,
oh, you love it. You love it. Or if you're Miami and you see you have to play Green Bay, week 16. But it's in Miami. Oh, you thank your lucky stars, right?
Yeah. And then the last game was in Tampa Bay, which is nice weather. So all good weather for today's Sunday games.
But if you're Dolphins, you got to get the win. And they failed miserably.
We should start with that game because not only do we have the Dolphins seem to be like running on one flat tire now we got to have the Aaron Rodgers Packers conversation. They are in the hunt now, and they're gonna sneak into this playoff race. And now they're like good. It's been horrible all year long. Like nobody's ever out of the playoffs. It seems
right.
One team, the Broncos, and that's it.
Right.
What happened in that Miami game? Tua is overthrowing. He's making the wrong reads.
Well, three interceptions, the final 3 drives of the game. That you can't have that in December, and that's definitely not going to work in January.
I'm worried if I'm a Dolphins fan. I'm just worried. Like I feel like
I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried.
Yeah,
I'm a little worried.
Here's what I wrote down for teams that got wins that I felt were important this week. Green Bay, Dallas, Jacksonville, Buffalo, New Orleans, KC, Minnesota, Cincinnati, Carolina. I left out Baltimore, Houston, San Francisco, Pittsburgh because I think we know San Francisco's good. Baltimore, Houston, Pittsburgh, I don't think they're going to make it. Those were significant wins. Significant losses.
Well, Baltimore's in. Right.
Baltimore's in, but I just don't think they're going anywhere.
I like what you're saying there because I was thinking that yesterday when I was watching Baltimore, they're not convincing me that they're all that great a team. And they're winning games. I mean, what they're 10-5. It's kind of crazy, but you still, even though they're 10-5, you're still not scared of them.
Right. Like, let's go Green Bay versus Baltimore right now. I pick Green Bay. Would you pick Baltimore over Green Bay right now? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I like that.
Significant losses this week. Miami, New York Jets, Seattle, New York Giants, Detroit, Tennessee, Washington, and Vegas because they're eliminated. Detroit.
Really? You don't think New England was a significant loss?
I think they're gone already.
Significant loss.
Oh, I think it's significant, but I don't think it's talking because win or lose, I think they're goners. Although mathematically they're not eliminated yet somehow. The biggest concern losses it was a bummer for Detroit because that's becoming everyone's favorite team. Tennessee just keeps rattling off these losses. And then Miami. And you can even...
And it's so weird. Stick up working them because there's no way a team that lost to the Texans this year is going to do anything in the playoffs.
It can't happen. It cannot happen. Like, what are you doing?
It can't happen.
Losing.
Maybe they'll make me swallow my words, but they're not good.
I got for the most watchable game of the week, Philly-Dallas game, was... Would you give that the biggest win of the week is Dallas beating Philly?
Yes. Okay, I'm going to say yes. They needed that. But let's all take a step back. And even though Gardner Minshew was excellent, okay, he played a lot better than a backup would be expected to play, but he's still the backup. So, that's a good win for Dallas, but I think it's a different ball game with Jalen Hurts playing. So, you got the win, but that defense still allowed some points to a backup quarterback. So even though and Dak played well, I'm going to give I've been hard on Dak. I'll give Dak some credit. But that defense needs to really tighten up.
If you look at it and say like Dallas won by 6 points, is Jalen Hurts worth 6 points to the Philadelphia Eagles? I think that's an easy yes. I think you would say a couple of reads, a couple of completed passes, and there's 6 more points on the board for the Eagles. They gave up a lot of points. Dallas wins at home. It was really the win they needed. They needed a statement win, even if it was against the backup. They won that. Everybody's good in that game. So Dallas, big win, most watchable game for me. Least watchable, I mean, that's easy. We had Rams versus Broncos, where at some point in the broadcast, it just turned into showing shots of Santa Monica Pier over and over again.
Right.
It's been bad. It's been bad for the Broncos. The Baker Mayfield thing is a fun story, but God, I'm sad watching the Broncos. Like, it's not even we're like, wow, this team's bad. It's like, I'm sad. I'm sad watching these Broncos and Russell Wilson.
Report, and it's such a proud franchise, But I don't think that coach is coming back, especially now with reports that Sean Payton may have his eyes set on Denver.
You think so? You think that could be a spot for him?
I think that could be a spot. I think that it'd be interesting to see. I mean, is Elway with the? I don't know. Does Elway still have a role with the Waltons?
I thought he did. I thought he was some sort of minority share owner. I could be wrong though.
Okay, so I think you have to go in there, but Sean Payton's going to probably want a lot of power, and so who knows how that's going to be divvied up. But again, I'm already seeing some coaches. I think this may be their last year. Maybe some surprises. I wouldn't mind seeing a Pete Carroll retirement.
Mm.
It may be time to go in a different direction. I don't, and my hot take was going to be, but I'll talk about it on hot takes. But a certain young coach that I think will be going back to the college ranks pretty soon. So we'll see what happens.
Let's go back to the Bill Belichick thing for a second. It got me thinking this because how unpatriots-like of a team it's been this year, the penalties, the crazy lateral, just the undisciplined play. Like, do we want to see Bill Belichick go out like this with just a mess of a team? His son is defensive coordinator or something. Like, how can we have this guy go out? We can't let the legend of our league go out with just horrible play. What's to happen here? Should he call it quits, or should he get one more good team and then I don't know. But again, it's making me sad that this is a Bill Belichick team.
Well, it's sad, but he's also earned the right, I think, to go out in his terms. So it'll be completely up to him.
Do you think he sticks around? Like, is he up to him in the sense I'm not leaving ever, and no matter how bad the teams are?
And I think Robert Kraft would go with him on that. I mean, I think one day we're gonna see that 30 for 30. Kind of like the Bulls. 10 episode 30 for 30. We're gonna see that about the Patriots one day. So I'm interested to see the relationship dynamic between Belichick and Coach Kraft. I mean, and the owner Kraft and Robert Kraft. I'm sorry. And, Tom Brady when he was there. I think that's going to be an interesting story.
And how about Brady farewell? Should he switch teams next year? Is this his last? One more, say he has a deep playoff run this year. Why call it quits and no one will think any less of you. But I don't want him to come back next year because there's no way he's going to be good next year. We've seen the floor of bad Brady, and it's been this year. And I don't want him to go out that way.
Are you saying he can't start for any team? So are you saying there are 32 quarterbacks better than Tom Brady next year?
No, but I think there's 10 to 12 better than him. But I'm saying, do we really want to go through another 8-8 Brady season? He's in the playoffs because the division's bad. He's not good this year.
It's going to be up to him. He's earned.
But I'm give me an ideal farewell for him. If it's up to him, he's going to play till he's 50, and he's going to lobby the rest for a roughing the passer every single play.
Does he want to come in as I'm the old guy going out, and I'm going to help a young quarterback, a young Brock Purdy? That's me being selfish. But I don't. It depends on what does he want to do. I mean, does he think he can join a Super Bowl contender and take them all the way? Does he just say, I want to play respectable with no expectation of a Super Bowl? But I don't think that's in Tom Brady's DNA. I think
no, he's not going to do that.
I think when he's playing for a Super Bowl. I don't see him doing a Joe Namath, Rams final season. I don't see him doing although I think Montana tried for a Super Bowl in Kansas City, but he was past his prime. Johnny
right.
Unitas.
Well, he had that one deep run. Montana did, and then that was it. He retired
he did.
After that.
Yeah.
There was a couple Marino years where getting to the end of his career, the guy just couldn't move.
Dan Marino. Wasn't it the Georgia? I remember that. I was, I think, a freshman in college, and I was back in El Paso. And I remember 62-7, the Jaguars just trounced the Dan Marino Dolphins his last game of his career. It was horrible to watch. Yeah. I felt bad for him.
I don't want to see that for Brady. If he win, okay, so give me a scenario.
I don't either.
If he wins the Super Bowl, retire or not retire?
Oh, if he wins the Super Bowl, he's retiring.
Okay. If he gets to the NFC Championship game and loses, retire or not retire?
He'll come back.
And then finally, if he loses in that first round of the wild card, retire or not retire?
He'll come back with another team.
Oh, wow. All right. God, I just don't know. again, I'm getting bummed out with everybody getting old. Let's go. What other games did we not talk about? I mean, there were so many games. I skipped over a bunch. That Buffalo win was pretty good. Minnesota is another one that's just winning everything, and Kirk Cousins is now scary. I still don't know if I think Minnesota's a threat, but maybe they are a threat. Maybe we need to be worried about Minnesota.
I still think Kirk Cousins would want no part. Again, I know I'm biased, but tell me that's not the best defense in all football right now. You know, the Niners are the best defensive unit in the NFL. I don't think Kirk Cousins wants any part of that 49ers defense.
Yeah, it's really shit. We didn't talk about it too much last week, but like, man, that was such a great week of football last week. And now like we're going into the playoffs now, and like I can't wait for these heavyweight bouts. Like, let's go, let's line it up. Like, besides the Tampa Bay division, like all these division winners are pretty damn strong. Like any of them, you can make an argument for like they're going to be the conference representative. Cincinnati is just rattling off wins. And then we got sentimental favorites that I think could make a run. Carolina and Detroit are my two sentimental favorites. Who do you got? Like, who's your sentimental favorite for making the playoffs this year?
I kind of like I like you mentioned Carolina. I like what that Coach Wilkes. I don't think he got a fair shake in Arizona when Kingsbury basically ran him off after a year. The organization ran him off after a year to give the job to Kingsbury. I really wanted to see Detroit get that win though. I like Coach Campbell, and I think he's the right guy for the Detroit job. As far as sentimental goes, and I think those are the only ones I can really think of. Sentimental, I obviously want to see Tom Brady, more playoff games of Tom Brady. So that's where my head's at.
Wow, you're kind of a secret Brady fan.
I think I am.
Yeah, I think so. I think you are. What other games did we talk about? Oh, how was Christmas? Let's go back to Christmas. Do you need to do any special prepping mentally? I know you like to get centered. I know you yoga it up. I know you're very zen now.
I did two 30-minute flow sessions yesterday. And so that felt really good. Didn't get a chance to meditate. Maybe I'll do some tonight after the show. But no, I did feel very centered for Christmas.
No extra yoga, no extra mantras, no extra reflecting for the Christmas season. You kept your schedule?
I kept it just business as usual.
Oh, okay. All right. It sounds good. Well, you made it through. We made it through Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, that was the week in the NFL. That was Christmas as well. So I'm still in the festive spirit. But, that brings us to, our weekly game, which I throw at you some sort of challenge. I was thinking a lot about dynasties this week. All the Franco Harris talk got me thinking. So I was thinking of dynasties in my recent lifetime. And I was wondering if the game that kicked off these dynasties, specifically the conference game that led this team to going to the Super Bowl and starting their dynasty. And I got about 3.5 teams that I'm putting in my dynasty league. So my question to you is, if you can guess which team these teams beat in the conference championship to win their first Super Bowl in the series. Okay, so let's start with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won their very first Super Bowl in 1975. Like I said, I was shoved down my throat a lot of Pittsburgh lore this week, and it was driving me crazy. So Pittsburgh wins the Super Bowl in 1975. Who did they beat in the AFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl?
I could see. Okay. Raiders had great 70s teams. The Dolphins were still a force, I think, back in those days. Wouldn't be surprised if they're there. Denver wasn't terrible. They won. They made it to a Super Bowl at some point. Um, don't know if I remember hearing anything about the Colts really being. I don't know the Jets. I'm gonna guess this is a good fun game. I want to guess the Raiders.
You are correct. They beat the Oakland Raiders. They went to Oakland 24-13 to go to their first Super Bowl against the Minnesota Vikings. Okay. So now you got the hang of the game. Let's go to my second Dynasty team pick. This one's a little different. I went with the almost Dynasty of the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams era. I don't think you would call them a dynasty. They went to 2 in a row. They won 1. But they were a thing. That greatest show on turf was a thing. So St. Louis Rams won their first Super Bowl January 30th, 2000. However, we all know that game against Tennessee Titans. Who did they beat, though, in the NFC Championship to that Super Bowl?
I have two teams that I'm thinking. The Bucks and the Eagles were very good during those years, and I remember Andy Reid was always at the AFC champion and the NFC Championship game, deep player, but just never made it until obviously his run with Mahomes. Oh, that's a tough one, Pat. So this is the 99 Rams, correct?
Right, 1999 into the 2000 year where the playoffs and Super Bowl occurred.
2000 would have been January of 2000. Correct. I am going to guess. Was it the Riddell Anthony game that it was a catch? It was not a catch. I'm going to guess the Buccaneers.
You got it. The NFC Championship game was against the Buccaneers. Bert Emanuel is the receiver you're talking about.
Bert Emanuel, that's the one.
Yeah, and the score was 11-6, like a really weird, like high offensive teams, and yet the score's 11-6. So you two for
that
two
a safety
game.
Was there a safety?
I can't remember. Was it? I might have to go back and rewatch that game. I love to rewatch games.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Your 49ers 80s dynasty. Their first
Dallas
Super
Cowboys,
Bowl.
Cat. Come on. Next.
January 24th, 1982 was their first Super Bowl. They beat the Dallas Cowboys 28-27. That's the famous catch game. Have you ever watched that game in its entirety?
Yes, I actually have on YouTube.
Yeah. It's an interesting game because the Niners have 5 turnovers in that game. And
yeah, they didn't look great.
Yeah, and if you watch the last possession of that game, I forget who the Dallas quarterback is, maybe Danny White.
Danny White.
There's a throw, because they still had like 50 seconds left in that game after the catch, and there's a throw to one of the receivers, and one guy tackles him, but if he misses him, he's going all the way.
Yeah.
And they get to the 50, and I think they sack him, and he fumbles or something. But that little extra part, it still could have went the other way.
They had a chance to win that game at the end.
Yeah,
I mean,
and they needed a field goal.
Drive, but that the catch didn't end the game. It wasn't a walk-off. They still had some time.
Yeah. Next dynasty, the 90s Dallas Cowboys first Super Bowl was January 31st.
You're gonna
1993.
I see how you did that. You set me up just to take me down. They lost 30-20. I mean, they beat the 49ers 30-20 in Candlestick.
Yeah. Yep. You got it. You nailed the score too. The score was 30-20 against the Steve Young Niners at the time. That was, I mean, if you look at that season, like that was Dallas's Super Bowl. That was the game.
It was. They were the best.
The Bills, they blew them out. It's a fun game, but that was the game. That was a sit on the edge of your seat. We might have watched that game together.
Yeah.
At my parents' house. Yeah. You nailed that one, of course, because that's your team. You remember the losses way more than you do the wins. I will tell you
Definitely.
that. I remember when the Oakland Raiders in that Rich Gannon year got to the AFC Championship, and fat Tony Saragusa fell on Rich Gannon and like broke his fucking rib or something.
Yeah.
And we had a backup and there was no chance. There was no chance of winning that game. So last dynasty, the 2000s New England Patriots, first Super Bowl, as you know, February 3rd, 2002. Who did they beat in the AFC Championship to go to that Super Bowl?
The Patriots?
Yes, New England Patriots, their very first.
They beat the Raiders in the tuck rule game. And then they played, I want to say then there was the Pittsburgh Steelers, because that was the game where they had to decide whether or not it was going to be Bledsoe or Brady. Bledsoe started. I don't remember. There was an issue with Tom Brady's health. Was it the Steelers?
You got that right. They beat the Steelers 24-17. And yeah, you hit on an interesting one. Brady gets injured in that game at close to the end of the first half. And Bledsoe comes in and throws a touchdown pass to close out the first half. And then he plays the rest of the game. And like, for like one day, there was like, is Brady going to start or is Bledsoe? And then that was done. It's like, no, it's Brady. It's going to be Brady. I think that was the official end of the Cordell Stewart era to that game. I think I'm kind of estimating, but it was like, that was it. We need a guy who can do one thing well, and that's it. We can't just keep having this guy return punts.
Yeah, and then they had that journeyman backup for a few years after Maddox, I think it was.
Oh yeah,
wasn't a bad quarterback. Wasn't a bad quarterback, but not great either. And then eventually a season where they were able to draft high enough to draft, of course, Ben Roethlisberger, their franchise passing leader.
There was a time in the NFL where like a lot of quarterbacks were journeymen at the end of their career quarterbacks, like Jake Delhomme, Tommy Maddox was another one. Brian Greasy was another one. We're like, is he good? We don't know, but you know, he's going to get us 20 points.
Stan Humphries, Chris Chandler.
Chris Chandler.
Guys kind of came from out of nowhere and led some good teams.
Right. Yeah, there was an era, like, call it the in-between era of quarterbacks where, like, we had dudes in their late 30s playing quarterback. Well, that was the Dynasty Challenge game. That brings us to the awards for this week of Christmas football. I had to do some real thinking on these awards, not only because they're tough, but also because I didn't really watch a lot of these games in their entirety. You know, you're getting pulled in so many directions. You're eating Christmas cookies all over the place. So let's go through this together. Our first award is the Overbearing Parent Award. So who would I give this to? I'm looking at all the teams who lost this week, like the Seattles, the New York teams. So I'm like, maybe I'll give it to all New York fans. Like, guys, we had a fun run the early part of the season, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for the New York.
I like what Terry Bradshaw said about the Giants. He said, "Look, they sometimes have these mess ups, but they're not a bad team, and on any given Sunday, they may get it together." So I'm still not going to count I'm more concerned about the Jets. If I'm a New York guy, I'm more concerned about the Jets than I am the Giants.
Yeah, the Jets are struggling more than Giants. I agree. Then I thought, okay, I'm going to take a 90-degree turn here after hearing about your Christmas. Can you get the Overparenting Award from really decking out your son's room to some sort of
maybe I should get the award.
I'm going to give you the award.
All right, I'll go with that. I have to say that.
Yeah, your kid's room is nicer than some TV studios apparently. What's in his room? What does he have in there? Does he have a flat screen in there?
We've got him a flat screen.
Oh my God.
I know. Now you make me feel all bad because I remember having I had a little box for a TV. You could hardly see it.
You had the ultimate. You had bunk bed. You don't have a brother, and you have bunk beds in your room. You had bunk beds. You had wall-to-wall carpeting. You had a TV. When the TV was set on top of the VCR, to my 8-year-old brain, that was luxury. I was like, dude, you put the TV on top of the VCR. Hell yeah. That is nice. Let's watch King Ralph for the 6th time. Put it in there. And when we're done, let's just play video games till your mom tells us we have to go. That was nice stuff to me. So
all right.
What's going on in your son's room? You got him a flat screen.
We got one of those Amazon Fire Stick TVs. So he's got all the apps already plugged in. He's got Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus,
oh my god,
HBO Max. He's got it all in there.
Oh my god. And is he's playing video games, I'm guessing, in there.
He got the brand new Xbox. We mounted it on the wall next to the flat screen, so you don't see any any cords. It looks real clean.
Oh my god.
And then and of course, this Xbox now, it's like a whole other entertainment system. It's like, you could do Blu-rays and all that stuff on these stupid things.
He will never come out of that room, Omar. He is not coming out of there.
And then what was the other thing we did? We have and then like we set up a little end table, and that has like this like huge strip power surge, so he can charge his Switch, his iPad, charge basically anything he needs for his electronics. There's hooks by his bed for the control, for the Xbox controllers.
we got to see this room at some point. We got to get some sort of his square footage of his room is probably bigger than my first apartment.
No, it's not a big room. But it's fun. And then something before the system was all put in, we had he's got the darkest room, so it could be 2 p.m. and there's not a cloud in sight on a summer day, and it's so bright outside, and you can still make his room pitch black. So it's a pretty neat room. I'm very jealous.
So you're gonna put in a skylight for Valentine's Day to his room, is what I'm hearing.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh my God, Omar, you are getting the overbearing parent award. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what exactly my argument is for you, but hearing how you decked out your son's room, I'm giving you the overbearing parent award.
All right.
Who are you giving it to? Or are you giving it to yourself?
No, overbearing parent. The Walton family, I think, needs to make some changes. So I'm going to go Sam Walton. He needs to be an overbearing parent and clean house on the Denver Broncos, because that today, I think that is maybe a franchise all-time low. Such a proud franchise, and it doesn't matter that, and I know you've had issues with the Broncos because you're a Raiders guy, but also you don't want to see your mortal enemy be so weak, because it kind of takes away the flavor of your rivalry. Again,
it made me a little sad. I have a lot of sad moments these last few days, and one of them is Broncos just being so pathetic. And they
don't even have the worst record. I think the Texans still proudly own the worst record in the league. But if you were to line those two teams up, now,
my God,
I'm going to take the Texans to win that game.
Oh my God, can you imagine Houston versus Denver? The battle of all battles. The loser is eliminated from the NFL for 1 year. That would be horrendous.
Relegation, and then the winner of the NCAA playoff gets bumped up next year. Let's do that.
Oh, I've always believed that. I've always believed the winner of college football should go into the NFL, and the worst team of NFL should go into college for 1 year. You have to earn your way back, sort of like an elimination challenge. Go. Yeah, it's bumming me out. At some point during the broadcast of that Broncos game, the network starts having the camera on the backup quarterback of the Broncos. I'm like, oh, this is not a good sign. Like, they're showing the quarterback like he's going to come in. Right. He didn't, but I'm like, this is a bad sign. Jesus, Broncos, that's a good award. They need to do something. Do you think the Raiders should blow it up? Do you think the Raiders should move on from Carr and fire McDaniels?
Yes to both. And I hate this because I think Carr has been everything you can ask for in a franchise quarterback, as far as his leadership, his loyalty, but he just never brought the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, didn't even bring any playoff wins. One playoff appearance.
And it's debatable whether or not, like, hey, did the Raiders always have the best team around him to help him succeed? Well, I think you can say maybe, maybe not. They haven't been the best at surrounding him with talent, but at the same time, he's also had some pretty big losses squarely on his shoulders too.
It's reminding me so much of the Tony Romo era, where if Carr ever went down and the backup quarterback came in and flourished, it would be like, this is our guy. This is our way to distance ourselves from Carr, because he's all we got. And it bums me out that he's not better, because that Pittsburgh loss was 80% on him. The defense couldn't get a stop at the end, I know, but all those interceptions by him, that was on Derek Carr's shoulders, so it bums me out. Sorry, we got off track from the overbearing parent award. Next award, the hot take award of the week. You've been sitting on one. You got one chambered. I think I know what it is. So go ahead. You have the floor. I'm going to say
this is when you realize that this is just a thing about business. This is business. My hot take is that, without a doubt, Cliff Kingsbury will not be fired. He will not be fired. He will resign to take a college job that'll pay him probably more than what he's going to make in the NFL. And so, but would it also be good for the Cardinals to move move separate from him and find a new coach? That franchise is going nowhere, and it starts with Kingsbury and the GM, who's apparently he's out on personal time for some issues.
Yeah, I heard that. This is a franchise that is really struggling. That was rough.
But I think it would make sense. Rather than Kingsbury be fired, I think there's going to be some colleges interested in him. That spread offense, and he put up some major points with in Texas Tech. So I could see him just saying, "Look, it's a business decision. He's going to do what's best for him." So that's my hot take.
It was bad where when the overtime started, Tirico goes, Tampa Bay is playing for the division title. Arizona's playing for absolutely nothing. They were eliminated last week. I'm like, Jesus, Tirico. God, man. Way to put a black cloud on this game that just got interesting. My hot take of the week, and this one's pretty hot. Coming off the Green Bay win in Miami, Aaron Rodgers is now smiling again. Green Bay is going to make the conference championship game this year.
Wow.
They're going to get hot. We're going to love to hate Rodgers.
Do you think that he could beat the Niners in San Francisco?
Do I think they can beat the Niners in San Francisco? I'm going to go with no, but I think he can beat Minnesota. I think he can beat. Do I think he can beat Dallas and Philly? I think he can beat Dallas because he already did it this year. Do I think he can beat Philly? I don't know about that, but I think if he gets hot, they can beat Minnesota, they can beat Dallas, they can get into the conference championship because Green Bay all of a sudden is hot. Aaron Rodgers has been sitting on talent. He's been withholding it from us. He's evil. Aaron Rodgers might be the devil. He might be.
I've been saying that for a while. So,
so my hot take is Green Bay makes the NFC conference championship game this year in the playoffs. That's hot take. That's a very hot take. That brings us to the next award, the cringeworthy award of the week. So I know we can't give it to the Broncos every single week, so I am eliminating them. I'm halfway giving it to Derek Carr because I get scared when he throws the ball and it's just a jump ball. Their 3rd and 8 play is a jump ball. Like, that's how intricate the offense is. But my other cringeworthy award goes to my stomach, because my stomach has been through a roller coaster this week. I even bought a little thing of Tums to carry with me, and I can just pop one when I see fit. So maybe my stomach is the cringeworthy award of the week.
Gross, but okay.
I even put down a half a bowl of menudo. Menudo is tough.
Well, so my cringeworthy moment was definitely just watching again, I'm harping on them. But won the Denver Broncos. Close second, honorable mention. God, looks like the Jets do not have their franchise quarterback.
Oh,
he looks very bad.
Oh, yeah, they had some guy named Schwager, Seltzer. I don't know who it was, but they replaced their quarterback in the like fourth quarter. The Jets did, and he had a little good run. But like, how many quarterbacks have the Jets started this year? Flacco, Zach,
or at least the taking snaps. Yeah, at least 4.
Or Zach Wilson, the guy who got his ribs crushed.
White, and then this guy. So yeah, it's been horrible to watch. I saw one meme that said, sadly enough, the most interesting thing about Zach Wilson in the NFL so far has been him having an affair with his mom's best friend. That's brutal.
I gotta agree with that. Next award, this is the Would You Rather Award. Simple this week. Would you rather Detroit or Carolina?
Would I rather roll with, like, beyond the, who would I rather play, or who would I rather
who would you rather put your money on right now?
Oh, I'm still gonna have to go with Detroit. I just think they have a better nucleus, if that makes any sense. And I think I don't want to underscore the job that Wilkes is doing. Build, what he's doing with what he has in Carolina. I still think talent-wise, Detroit's better.
So you're going full analytical. This is not an emotional decision. You're saying they got the better team, so you're putting your money on Detroit.
Yeah. Yes.
Here's a secondary would you rather I just thought of, thinking of the Saturday games. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Chicago were all horrible weather games. Which game would you have rather have gone to? You can weigh it as
all three of them looked brutal.
Oof, yeah.
Remind me, did it seem like there was at least a little bit of sun in Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago was sunny, cold. I don't know about wind though, but I think
it was brutally cold, but they did have sun though, right? And obviously
yeah,
I would not want to be at night.
Yeah, scheduling that Pittsburgh game at night. Well, I don't know who thought of that. That was brutal.
I'm going to say that at least the sun, some sun in Chicago would be doing it for me. But I bet you that wind was probably worse in Chicago than it wasn't even Cleveland. But Cleveland gets pretty bad wind too. Mm-hmm. But that Cleveland game, that floor seemed like concrete.
Yeah, you had snow in that one. That one looked brutal to watch. Some games you watch and they look brutal. Some games you watch and you're like, oh, it's cold there. Oh yeah, they showed the temperature. Some games you watch, you're like, that looks horrible. Tough Saturday.
I do like the Browns uniforms.
Did you? The dark ones in the snow?
I do like I like Cleveland's uniform schemes, but I especially like their vintage look. They should always have white face masks.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that. I like the white face mask. I don't like that they can change all the time, but the white face mask was a good throwback to the Bernie Kosar years, and it just stands out every once in a while. A clashing color face mask works. Like New England has the red on the silver helmet. It works.
Sometimes that looks
good.
Sharp.
Yeah, and I like the Raiders in Dallas, how the base color matches the face mask. That's a clean look, but sometimes the clashing colors really works as well too. Buffalo, remember Buffalo back in the day had a white face mask on their red helmet? Yeah. That looked good.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the Would You Rather cold weather game. Now we've got the Ethan Hunt You've Never Seen Me Upset Award. Tom Cruise movie that most represents this week in the NFL. And I'm kind of lumping in last week with all the like awesome games last week into some awesome games this week. And I might go full on Collateral And I'm gonna go Collateral because I like the movie. It's got action.
Really like that movie. I don't know.
I like Michael.
I'm gonna call. This is like the third time you've used Collateral this season.
Has it? I thought I've been saving it for something.
No, you used it last week.
Did I?
Maniac.
It was a nominee. Yes. It wasn't my winner. It was a nominee.
Okay, go make your
argument. I'm going Collateral because you're like, whoa, this movie's got a lot of action. Tom Cruise has white hair. He's a badass. He's killing people. And then you walk out of it and you're like, that movie was fucking awesome. I don't know what I watched for 2 hours, but now I think it's awesome. And that's how the NFL was like. We just watch awesome game after awesome game. Every team gets one possession to win the game at the end of it, no matter what. So I'm going to go Collateral this week, even though for some reason you don't like Collateral.
I'm going to go with one that I have used, I think, in the beginning, but I'm going to go again. I'm going to go Top Gun because I think the Top Guns of the league are starting to show themselves. I think we're starting to see which are who are the real threats. I mean, you and I can sit and talk about who could possibly get an upset or maybe even pull off a win, a playoff win. But I think the teams that are really going to threaten a Super Bowl run, it's now a handful. And I'm going to go.
Hold on. You give me a great idea. What team is your Maverick and Goose? What team is your Iceman and Slider?
Okay, right now.
What's another one?
My Iceman right now is the 49ers, okay? I think on paper.
I should have seen this coming.
I'm telling you. Stop it. With the way
I know your unhealthy love of Val Kilmer.
Oh, yeah. And so I think, but but again, I'm gonna go with Maverick I'm gonna go with Josh Allen in Buffalo. I think he's the Maverick, and then he can will a team to be better than Iceman. I know I've been big on Buffalo, and sometimes they've disappointed with some really head scratching losses. But I really like Buffalo. But I'm going to put them, rounding out the field, your Goose, Sliders, all of them. You got Dallas, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Kansas City. And that's pretty much, in my opinion, 5 teams. Those are the ones.
Ooh, you know who my sundown is? Green Bay. At some point, you're going to be like, oh, you're in this movie too? Yeah.
There you go.
I'm giving Green Bay my sundown. That guy, cool name. Cool name, that sundown. Who do I want to give my Dallas Top Gun character to? Let me think about this for a second. We got Maverick, Goose, Iceman, Slider. Maybe I'm going to give Dallas Merlin. Maybe Dallas wasn't that Tim Robbins? I can't remember.
Yeah.
What about Cougar? Wasn't that the guy who quit Top Gun in the first?
I think Slider is going to be the Dallas Cowboys for me. When we say, I think that Maverick, is going to take a sniff of Dallas Cowboys just at the end. You stink.
Oh, what was Tom Skerritt's character's call sign?
Jester was his buddy.
Right, that was Michael Ironside. Yeah,
that was Michael Ironside.
Viper. Was it Viper?
Viper, yeah.
It was Viper. Yeah, I'm giving that to Kansas City. Kansas City is Viper.
The veterans. They've been there, done that.
Yeah. That's why I'm going. Casey is my Tom Skerritt Viper. All right, we went way too long on the Tom Cruise Award this week, like we do every week. Final award: Who won the week? I have 3 nominees. I have Aaron Rodgers, Christmas football, and weather won the week.
Weather won the week. I'm going to go with you on that one too. I'll agree with weather won the week. I'm also going to go with in a loss, the Philadelphia Eagles won the week.
Oh, that's good. Like maybe Jalen Hurts is like, hey, this is how important I am to you guys.
It's not important. They did not give Dallas the playbook with Jalen Hurts. So if they see each other in the playoffs, that is not going to be the same team that Dallas beat weeks before. So I think even with a loss, I think that Philadelphia's got some claim as winning. We won the week. We may have gotten into Dallas's head for a potential rematch sometime in the playoffs.
Oh, I like that pick. Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles won the week in a loss. Good. Well, those were the awards for the Sunday Night Talk. However, this may surprise you, Omar, but there is a game tomorrow. It's Monday night.
It's like another game. Yeah, crazy.
Oh, we didn't even talk. Chargers could be the sentimental favorite this year. If you go Detroit, I'm going Chargers as my sentimental favorite.
Okay, but I just don't see them either. They
could get hot. Justin Hebert could get hot. Chargers versus Indianapolis. Our Monday night. That brings us to the Monday Night Questions Christmas edition. I'm going completely on the fly because I didn't write any down. Omar, Chargers at Indianapolis. Who is your favorite Charger of all time?
My favorite Charger of all time? Wow, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Christmas edition. What has been your favorite Christmas gift you've ever received?
I was asked that. My Super Nintendo 6th grade was pretty astonishing. My first grade year, the year that I lived out in the Valley, the Mobile Command Center G.I. Joe.
You had that? That was big.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it was huge. Nice. I want to go with that one. That was my favorite. That was my happiest Christmas.
Nice. Christmas tree, real or artificial?
Easy. Artificial. I'm not cleaning up all that. It's so dirty.
For the kids, would you ever dress up as Santa Claus and be a mall Santa?
For the kids, yes, I would.
Wow. And, well, not finally, one more. Christmas Day, go all out or save it for New Year's Eve?
Go all out. Go home on New Year's. Everyone's so stupid and crazy about New Year's, in my opinion.
I feel like New Year's Eve isn't.
Hate all the hubbub about with.
I feel like New Year's Eve isn't as big a deal as it was when I was a kid. Like, I don't feel anybody goes out for New Year's Eve anymore, but I may be old man Ramirez now.
Nobody should be going out at this age. Just enjoy it, watch the ball drop from home, and have some snacks, and it just reflect. Everybody wants to go get blasted on New Year's. It's insane to me. You want to start the year messed up. It's crazy.
Wow. You're giving the whole New Year's Eve community the overbearing parent award. And finally, pick the game. LA Chargers at Indianapolis Colts.
I'm going to go Chargers, and I don't think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go 28-10.
All right, you heard it here. That was the Sunday Night Talk Christmas edition. It is Christmas night. We did it, Omar. See everybody next week. For me, Patrick Ramirez, for Omar Carmona. See you at the games. Merry Christmas, Omar. That is it. That is the show. That is the Christmas night edition of the Sunday Night Talk. Good slate of games. NFL is heating up. Man, did we have a lot to talk about. God bless my stomach and tums. Hey, don't forget, if you're new to Running It Back, if you're new to the channel, give it a subscribe. It's growing little by little, and it's because of you. Let's keep it going, people. We still got a lot of season left. Not to mention, there are stand-up clips. There are other shows on there, like opening scenes, and my interviews on the Running It Back, the main feed on there as well. So check it out. Give it a subscribe. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed Christmas. I hope you have a safe New Year's. And hope you had time to watch a little of these games. Even if you didn't, like me, you still have thoughts. For Omar Carmona, for me, Patrick Ramirez, this was the Sunday Night Talk. Merry Christmas, everybody. Be safe. Happy New Year's. And see you next week.